Hey folks, this is Ben Yessel. I just thought I'd make a quick video here about some things that have been going around, at least on YouTube, but definitely outside of YouTube, for quite some time now. I've talked about this with my brother, Tom, and I've talked about this a fair amount here and there with other folks. Um, and what the subject matter is here, I'm going to be talking about here, is what for humans. Are we carnivores, omnivores, or herbivores? All right, so and there's probably some other in between categories you could make, say, are frugivores, whatever, as opposed to herbivores. Um, actually, let's make four different categories here: herbivores, frugivores, omnivores, carnivores. Now, just to be specific about definitions here, an herbivore is an animal that eats plant foods. A frugivore, as far as I know, is an animal that eats primarily fruits with some other stuff as well. A omnivore is an animal that eats basically everything, or can eat basically everything. Um, and then a carnivore is an animal that eats meat and whatever else, fish and stuff. Um, so right off the bat, what I'm going to say is that humans are omnivores. We are omnivores, but on the omnivore spectrum, and there is a spectrum. Um, and I've kind of known this for a long time in a way, but you could look up all kinds of videos about this. We are omnivores, but we're closer. This is the key word here. We're closer to the herbivore, frugivore end of things than the carnivore side of things. And you can get into the science of it. You can talk about the length of the intestines and our teeth and our head shape and the acidity of our stomachs, and it's all out there, folks. But but we're not cows. We don't have four stomachs. We don't digest grass. It's true that primates have a fair amount of not only greens but also fruits and stuff, or can some with bananas and stuff. We're definitely closer to the primates, obviously because we are just anatomically closer to primates, right? Um, our teeth are more like the primates, somewhat, but somewhat. Um, jaw. I mean, it's all out there. We're definitely not carnivores. We definitely have a stomach acid pH level that's not quite as low as tigers and stuff, but uh, we definitely don't have huge sharp teeth. But uh, yeah, we do need a little bit of stuff that's not plant foods. Just a little bit. Not really a whole lot. Um, why is this? Well, it's it's hard to sum up, but um, yeah, it's a question of how much. Well, it's complicated, but kind of. But it's a question of. It's always a question of what humans can absorb from different sorts of foods. That's really what I'm talking about when it comes down to it, and also along with all kinds of other things. But it's not only what we can absorb from different kinds of foods, but it's also we have a pretty uh, you know impressive brain capacity, right? We are we are far beyond intellectually all the other life forms, right? All that juice our brain needs, it's gonna take some stuff. It's in eggs and fish, and along with a lot of the plant foods and things and stuff. But all those omega 3s, man. I mean, it's just yeah. So there are videos also out there about brain health, vegans. You need to supplement. They need to be supplementing with those minerals that we know about, like the K2, the natto. I guess you get K2 from natto, but K2 and vitamin D, and you need to make sure you have your sea vegetables like seaweed if you get enough iodine, along with if you're not doing eggs or salmon or whatever fish. I mentioned omega threes already, and B12, and I might mention that I don't know. There's some other stuff I'm forgetting about, iron and calcium and yeah, I don't know. So it's in zinc, whatever. It's the weird thing is that you could have, again, I mentioned cows as kind of an herbivore. You can have cows can get more out of some plants that we can, and their stomachs are different. They have four of them. But we are again on the omnivore spectrum. We're I think which we're closer to that herbivore side of things, frugivore or whatever, than we are carnivore. If we were more like a carnivore, if humans were more like carnivores, I think our behaviors would be a little different. I think we behave. I don't know if we wouldn't necessarily be werewolves, but yeah, we would look different. We would act differently a little bit. You know, we would be eating a lot more meat. It'd be interesting to see, again, for a sentient species, what we'd be like as a more of as an omnivore bordering on carnivore, but closer to that. Um, Dogs, for instance, are would be in a way more like dogs or wolves, I suppose, because wolves eat meat basically, but dogs probably eat a little bit of roughage, a bit of whatever, so just certain kinds of fruits and vegetables. But there are many that I mean, some fruits and vegetables that obviously dogs can't have. But we'd be a little bit more like a dog. We'd probably be hairier. We'd probably have bigger teeth. We'd probably be, I don't know if it'd be more aggressive, but again, I just think we behave. It would just be different. We'd be different. We would be different. We wouldn't necessarily be humans anymore in a way. It would be a big change. Those people that eat a lot more meat, right? You often notice that there's a surliness, and then there's an intensity, an aggressiveness that's connected with higher meat consumption. Well, the testosterone in meat, is great for both men and women, I guess especially men, but we need that in a certain amount. But when it gets to excessive amounts, there's some negative side effects. And on the flip side, if you're talking about someone who eats just someone who's a vegan who only eats plant foods, you might have I don't know. This is well, you definitely don't have that level of aggression so much, or at least it's different. It's a different kind of thing. They might be I'm trying to think of the right way of putting this here, but it's um, well, sometimes you always have personality gets in factors in here, but you probably have irritability amongst vegans because they might be low in certain nutrients unless they're supplementing, and they're just hungry and they have to be eating a lot, and yeah. But when you eat a lot of meat, uh, it's a very different kind of thing. Instead of irritability, you would, in a way, you would actually be more. Um, uh, I think you'd be more direct. People that eat more meat, and more direct, and maybe a shorter fuse, and just even more physically. Like just from a physical, just a person is more prone to being violent, I think, depending on age and all kinds of stuff. But um, then look at the way that herbivores are versus carnivores, animals. carnivorous animals are wild, feral, violent, right? They go after they have just explosive speed and power. And that's what meat gives you is speed and power. Testosterone, right? But like certain kinds of life forms are designed to be carnivores, and that works for them. And herbivores are not so much that way. They're a little bit cooler headed. Why? Because of the way that plants are. Plants don't make you aggressive. Now, it makes us frustrated sometimes because we maybe are hungrier more often if we just have plant foods. But, like for a herbivore, you have to have a situation where they're about to get eaten or they're young about to be eaten before herbivores get really aggressive. Now, there's some herbivores that might be, I don't know, you want to watch yourself. It all depends. And there's some very, very large herbivores. And we know that there's a lot of protein in, this is all very common knowledge. There's a lot of nutrients in plant foods, of course. But again, it's just a question of what a human can digest from plant foods. And I think for all you guys out there watching this, you really do need to watch a variety of different, more scientifically based videos to get a better understanding of where we fall on the omnivorous spectrum, really. And there are some slight variations, I think, that could work from person to person, but they're slight. They're not very big variations. And sometimes, of course, we know, like with the Inuits or the Eskimos, sometimes all you have to eat are walrus and seals and whatever else, and that's a different situation. Or other times, all you have to eat are plant foods. But we're talking about the getting to the bullseye of where humans should be eating or where we fall on that spectrum. We do lean closer to the frugivore herbivore thing than we do the carnivore thing. But we are not herbivores, strictly speaking, or frugivores, and we're definitely not carnivores. And if you want to go one way or another, if you don't want to fall somewhere in the middle, you're going to have to you have to be closer to the herbivore frugivore thing, because we simply are closer to those animals. But we're not 100% those guys. We're definitely not cows. We don't have four stomachs. We can't eat grass. And so, say, we're frugivores. And I could see that maybe, but it would benefit us to have a little bit of fish, just like a lot of East Asians eat fish traditionally, anciently. Same thing with the Polynesians. Or eggs, same, the Africans, same deal. Had a little bit of eggs, right? A little bit of dairy in Eastern Africa. Just a little bit, not much. But yeah, that's where we are. We're omnivores that are closer to herbivores. All right, you guys leave me thoughts and comments below. Catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.